I'm Carolyn Trant. I'm an artist who now makes artist books. I was taught by Peggy from the age of 11 at North London Collegiate School and went on to work with her, and I wrote the biography of her, which came out with Incline Press in about 2004 for Peggy's centenary. I suppose that all those years printing wallpaper has helped me into hand printing my now woodcut printed books. Well, I first met Peggy when I was 11 because I went to North London Collegiate School then, and she'd just come back from her sabbatical in Bali, and I was eventually sort of after a year or two, there were several art teachers and we had a whole separate art block, but I was actually sort of given to her to sort of take in charge. And by the time I was 18, before I went to art school, I was printing wallpapers in the summer holidays. We printed on lining paper, wallpaper lining paper, which had to be painted first, and then we had to wait for that to dry, and it was then printed on with the blocks that Peggy had already cut, and some of them obviously got quite old, and she just recut them, or sometimes we recut them and reused them, or then she'd cut a completely new block. The whole wonderful thing about hand-painted wallpapers is that they sit back on the wall. Peggy was very adamant that they were a background for people to have for paintings. And she also, the word she used, they need to be like damask. If you imagine the old fabric wallpapers, they sort of catch the light. And these vinyl paints were quite shiny, actually, but they were matter when you diluted them with water. So you've got the sort of play of the sort of richness of how blobby your paint is, both with the background in a more lean way and then with these pictures on, and you get this lovely sort of background sitting back on the wall effect. She had other ex-students, she had sort of, children of friends, she had quite a range of people doing it. So you had to have quite a good eye, really. I mean, I think this is why, she would know somebody who'd got a good eye. So it's quite hard work because you're using quite your own elbow power, not a press, and then you've just got to keep doing that and moving them down. And some of the designs were made to rotate in certain ways. It was a fraction of a pattern which built up into a larger pattern. And the designs themselves, she liked, because she was very into creative patronage and involving the people who wanted the wallpaper into the process. There were two things. She wanted them to talk about their lives and sort of enter into what sort of motifs, because some of them are very abstract and then some of them actually had flowers or birds or something on them. But she would talk to somebody and say, you tell me, you make some suggestions about what you would like on it. Now that doesn't mean to say that once cut and done for that person, that design would not be reused. So in the end she was building up. So the sort of the very first patterns were like Kenneth Rowntree was the very first person. And they developed out of her tile designs. She started printing them to show, because they built up into different patterns or almost murals, she printed them to show the architects the potential of how they could use the tiles. So some of the patterns had the name of the sort of person. We printed with the paper on the table and the liner on the top and then rubbing on the back. Well, knowing Peggy, that's a big subject, kind of totally changed my life, but I make artist books now, and I mean all those kind of years of printing, it makes you believe that you can do it with very simple materials.